Friended. You've probably all had that experience of being friended by someone out of the blue, someone you're not sure you know or at one time barely knew. When that happens to me, sometimes I think, ooh, just my luck. We're better friends now than those with benefits who get to get coffee. It usually happens from the top of the heap of social networking today through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, MySpace, and the Plus. But now it's no fuss for us to stay connected to the human race. I'll read their invitation and ponder to myself, do you know me, know which isn't so? There never was a time that I was more than just a face in a crowd, but now there is a place, a space to connect with those I never connected with before, a place to see a face that was never more than just a face in the crowd, and yet now you have friended me. Then often I'll look closer at the picture and think, wait, yes, I know you. I knew you back in high school a millennia back. I know I see you change your status to single because your ex-husband is now dating your Uncle JJ. That should make for an interesting holiday. And yes, your glamour shots do look spectacular. Did you apply that makeup with a roller, paint, and spatula? And then I'll see their latest update. OMG, I totally regret that drunken night at karaoke, sake, and vomit. ROFL. And after I've gleaned all that information, those facts from their page, how close am I to really knowing them, and do I want to? Even so, we will get those invites because social networking is exploding exponentially. MySpace has the one user, Justin Timberlake. Google's Plus, 35 million. LinkedIn, 120. Twitter, 200. Facebook, 800 million users. Social networks are growing by leaps and bounds, and with a big market share still untapped because we live on a planet of nearly 7 billion. Of those, over 2 billion are plugged in like copper tops to the net. And of those, over 1 billion on social network sites, many of them habitually. Some of my smoker friends roll out of bed every morning and they got to have a light, and it's the last thing they do before they tuck in at night. For many Facebookers, about 30%, Facebook is the habit they tune into every morning and tune out to every night. The good news is their lungs aren't burning, there's no cancer, so it's a habit they don't want to fight. Why stomp out, on top of that, the best source of juicy gossip on the planet? It's not just the trash on the celebrities, but on those they've friended. Why kick a habit that slams others and makes us feel so doggone splendoricious? However, those friendships fit into a different category in our life, the category of disposal. And since disposable, and since we don't really know them, that seems reasonable. For many hip and happening social media users, though, about 57%, it is their preferred mode of connection with other human beings. Does that make them disposable? It seems social media has me and so many more, maybe you, glued to the screens of a Toshiba, Dell, Sony, and Max. Therefore, the question might be, do we lack the ability to actually interact with the real people sitting next to us in the coffee house? Our eyes unable to focus on those with beating hearts, sipping cappuccinos by our sides because we are tied, bound, and wound to the almost personas, the maybe-me's we have put out in the WWC. I gotta be honest, I found myself at times, perhaps you have too, unable to pull myself away from some random friend. The one with a nefarious mustache, and as I peruse her wild adventures in Cancun, I find her quite mysterious and maybe a bit hot, if not for the luxurious forest of follicles on her upper labium superius, which makes me reflect at the desperate measures we now take to connect what is at stake. Perhaps it's not as bad as all that, but 1 billion users growing daily might be an epidemic. Will I quit? Hell no. I'm an addict. Can it be good for you? Hell yes. There's still a few more uses than users. However, one thing that is slowly happening is that the more we connect with the net, the less we actually connect with the real human beings. So I ask, can we jumpstart our brains, rewire our minds, and reimagine what true connection is in a world where people prefer to see the maybe me I want them to see? For some out there, their lives seem more interesting in 140 characters or less. It is ordered simple. There is no chaos. There is no mess. And if there is a mess, it can be manageable and maybe even just a little juicy and fun. Consequently, I'm haunted by this question. Have I allowed myself to be managed and manipulated so that the time I waste on a visual taste of people who are just a face in a crowd of pixels on a screen, a scene that brings me only closer to the persona of the maybe me we want to be, the maybe me we want all others to see? In order to really be friended, really extended, we have to really connect to the beings beyond the faces in the Facebook, the spaces in MySpace, between the tweets that we think have connected us to the race of man, because real connection requires real contact with real human beings. Beyond the web and beyond the clickety-clack of fingers on a keyboard, but all the way to the touch of hand-to-hand contact with screens closed down, real face to real face. That is the challenge, being willing to leave that inner space that takes no space, but the precious space of time in our lives, beyond the doing, to actually being together. Beyond the maybe you and the maybe me, to where it means something when we have befriended one another. befriend each other.